Well, another day, here we go. I'd like to make an opening statement. And I want to let you know that it's not making an excuse, but simply stating the facts. These messages are being brought to you through my own personal financing. And they're paid for my fixed income. So they're far from professional. And I know I'm not the best speaker in the world. And it's not by choice, but by necessity, because I just can't find anybody around the area here that wants to get involved. And but I want you to know, overlook my shortcomings and listen to the message itself, because it is nothing but the truth. Now, this week's message is episode 123, mental illness. Now, how does mental illness compare with the biblical times as to what's going on today? Make no mistake, mental illness dates back thousands of years. In the Old Testament, there was a case of Nero, who suffered from what is known today as psychosis, which is defined as a group of symptoms that affect the mind and can cause a person to lose track of reality. Well, in the New Testament, Mark 1:34, Jesus heals a man in a synagogue who was crying out in torment, showing symptoms of what we now call schizophrenia. Jesus commanded the spirits to leave, restoring peace to the man's mind. Now let's fast forward to modern day. Joanne Kemper was in the earlier stage of dementia when the Clark County judicial system chose to advance her condition by isolating her from people that truly care about her. Instead, they offered people without any conviction, and they just simply went through the motions. Does she have a short-term memory loss? Well, yes. But through her faith in Jesus, anyone with patience, and not one of Satan's soldiers, can sit down and have an intelligent conversation with her. Like the man Jesus cured at the synagogue, Jesus has given her peace of mind. Now, Joanne Kemper's husband, Carlos, who is now properly known as Carl, suffered with schizophrenia, paranoia. In his mind, there was a boogeyman who was out to kill both him and his family. Joanne Kemper at one time participated in a taped interview explaining how she would have to get up in the middle of the night and take her husband to a motel where, in his mind, he would be safe from this mentally made up killer. His condition was not as obvious as the man in the synagogue, because he was able to hide it from the public. But still in all, like Nero, he ended up committing suicide. Research has long indicated that schizophrenia is partly inherited, and several studies have contributed to the understanding of its gender basis. Now, I do not pretend to be an expert, but when something affects my life, I do everything I can to understand the problem. With the help of Google, that task is made a lot easier. However, this case is further proof that some forms of mental illness can be passed down from one generation to another. Carl Kemper's daughter, Carla Mauger, filed charges against me, stating that she was in fear that I would shoot her mother. Well, Carl's grandson, Reese Minor, filed charges against me out of fear I would shoot him. Do you see the pattern here? So the Clark County judicial system has overlooked the mental issues of the evildoers and punished the innocent by placing them in unlawful prisons. Joanne Kemper is in a maximum security type. All one has to do is go visit and see how they converted her once beautiful home into a prison of isolation. No cell phones, landlines subject to eavesdropping, locked doors inside the house I'm talking about, areas of the house that have been converted to security areas and to keep her out. Security cameras are placed in different places that would only benefit the jailer assigned to the house. They call him a caregiver, but he doesn't do any caregiving. They hire somebody else to take care of the duties that he's supposed to do. And double bill Joanne Kemper for the services that isn't done and the services that is done. In the meantime, though, I'm in a minimum security type, like a house arrest. Admit that is by my choice. It was either to stand up for Joanne Kemper or abandon her as her family has. As a Christian, I chose to accept confinement so we could expose the demons that Satan has placed under his control. Our goal is to let the public know of Satan's followers and his power. People that sit back and believe it can't happen to them, well, news bulletin, if you're a Christian, it can. I got a call from my relative a couple of days ago, and he didn't call me a liar, and he kind of believes it, but I don't believe that he understands how drastic this situation is. And I'm talking about persecution. Keep in mind, the Clark County judicial system is just an example of how they will not address mental illness, but will exploit it. To exploit is to use something to one's own advantage, especially in an unfair or ethical way. Excuse me again. Hey, where does one turn for help? It appears as all the Clark County attorneys are part of the same corruption. One attorney I contacted recommended Charles Isley, who happens to be Stacy Bollinger's attorney. Now, rightfully, he would have to recuse himself as a conflict of interest. But that's not necessarily so in Clark County courts. Grant Brower plays musical chairs with that legal issue. It only becomes a conflict of interest when it benefits him and keeps things in the circle of corruption. I don't make things up now. Court records have shown where Grant Brower has done just this. Remember, he pulls the strings and the judges jump. Rachel Brooks and Karen Manker were both court-appointed attorneys for Joanne Kemper, but they were actually doing a better job of representing Carla Mager. Of course, attorneys will not represent Joanne Kemper properly. They could get disbarred for any attempt of killing that golden goose. That just proves how powerful Satan is, to imagine that he could corrupt so many souls. But I get my power from Jesus, who offers eternal life in heaven. Well, those who choose Satan, he offers eternal life in a bottomless pit. Hey, Joanne Kemper and I are fine. Our names are in the Lamb's Book of Love. These others are in dire need of prayer so they can jump on over and realize Jesus is the answer. Bless you all. And until next time, take care.
She lost her love, and I did too. We both were looking for something to do. Then by chance, our paths crossed, so we helped each other through our great loss.
He was a cowboy, me a housewife. He loved his ranch, I loved city life. But the years took their toll on both of us, so we moved into town. The ranch was too much. Now
We live alone together. We'll stay that way forever. May sound strange, but it's true. Our interest changed as our love grew. Yes, love can still be found the second time around. We're living proof we live alone together.
over 10 years in harmony, that's where we're at. There's differences aplenty, that's a fact. We each enjoy hobbies and spend our time alone, go our separate ways to different parts of our home.
This message is directed to the senior crowd. We didn't just get old, we got old being proud. So turn all the pages that are now in the past, make a new life as one, and love while it lasts. We live alone together, we'll stay that way forever. true. Our interests changed as our love grew. Yes, love can still be found the second time around. We're living proof